Have you ever wondered why some women seem to possess an almost magnetic quality, an effortless grace that captivates and fascinates the men around them? It's not always about conventional beauty, a sharp wit, or worldly success. It's something deeper, an energy they radiate that feels both powerful and inviting. You might have seen it yourself. A woman who enters a room and, without saying much, creates a sense of calm, curiosity, and profound attraction. Men don't just notice her, they seem to lean in, wanting to understand what makes her different. They feel a pull they can't quite explain. This isn't a magic trick or a set of seduction techniques. Psychology suggests this phenomenon is deeply rooted in the interplay of what are often called masculine and feminine energies, not as rigid juror roles, but as two fundamental psychological forces that exist within all of us. Today, perhaps more than ever, modern life encourages women to develop their masculine energy. We are taught to strive, to achieve, to be decisive, and to take control of our destinies. In the workplace and in our personal goals, this is an incredible asset. This is the energy of doing, of building, of moving forward with purpose and direction. You have likely mastered this. You know how to make a plan, how to solve a problem, and how to push through challenges to get what you want. But have you ever noticed that bringing the same go-getter, problem-solving energy into your romantic life can sometimes backfire? It can lead to a feeling of exhaustion, as if you are the one always driving the relationship forward, making the plans, and managing the connection. It can also, on a subconscious level, create a dynamic with a man that feels more like a competition than a complementary partnership. This is where the concept of feminine energy becomes so powerful. Feminine energy, in a psychological sense, is not about being weak, passive, or submissive. It is the energy of being, rather than doing. It is receptivity, emotional depth, intuition, and the ability to be fully present in the moment. While masculine energy builds the container, feminine energy is the living, flowing substance that fills it. Think about it this way. If masculine energy is the focused beam of a flashlight, cutting through the darkness to find a specific point, feminine energy is the warm, ambient glow of a lantern that illuminates the entire space, revealing its richness and texture. One is not better than the other. They are two halves of a whole designed to work in harmony. The ability to fascinate a man often comes from a woman's comfort and fluency in this feminine way of being. A man who is secure in his own masculine energy is naturally drawn to this. He is not looking for another person to compete with or to direct. He is looking for a space where he can be seen, understood, and appreciated for who he is. When you embody your feminine energy, you create that space. You aren't trying to impress him with your accomplishments or prove your worth. Instead, you are simply present. You listen not just to respond, but to truly hear. Your value isn't something you have to demonstrate. It is inherent in your very being. This creates a profound sense of psychological safety and intrigue for him. He feels he can put down his own metaphorical armor because he is not in a battle of wills. He is in the presence of something open, flowing, and deeply alive. This is the foundation of genuine fascination. It's not about playing a role, it's about unlocking a part of yourself that you may have been taught to suppress in the name of strength and independence. But what if true strength lies not just in your ability to act, but also in your courage to simply be? So, how does this shift from doing to being actually feel in a real-life interaction? Imagine you are on a date. The masculine, action-oriented part of your mind is likely running a constant checklist. Is he interested? What should I say next to sound intelligent? Does he think I'm attractive? This internal monologue is a form of doing. It's an attempt to manage the outcome, to control the other person's perception of you. You are essentially working to secure a result. Now contrast that with the energy of being. In this state, your focus is not on managing the future, but on experiencing the present. You are simply there. You are listening to the sound of his voice, not just the words he is saying. You are noticing the way he laughs. You are paying attention to how you feel in his presence. Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel energized? Your awareness is turned inward, toward your own experience rather than outward, toward controlling his. This shift can feel terrifying at first because it requires you to let go of control. And for many of us, control feels like safety. We believe that if we can just plan enough, analyze enough, and work hard enough, we can prevent ourselves from getting hurt. This is a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. Perhaps in your past, you had to be the responsible one, the planner, the one who held everything together. You learned that leaning back and trusting others to take the lead was not safe. So you developed a powerful and effective masculine shield. You learned to be self-reliant, which is a wonderful strength. But in the context of romantic polarity, that shield can become a wall that prevents a man from truly reaching you. He can't connect with the part of you that is open, receptive, and vulnerable if it's hidden behind a fortress of self-sufficiency. This is not a criticism, it's a fundamental human pattern. The mind fears the unknown, and letting go of control throws you directly into the unknown. When you stop trying to steer the interaction, you have to trust. You have to trust him to lead, to be curious about you, to move the connection forward if he is interested. You also have to trust yourself. Trust that you will be okay no matter the outcome. This is where a Stoic principle becomes incredibly useful. Understanding the difference between what you can control and what you cannot. You can control your own energy, your presence, and your responses. You cannot control his feelings, his actions, or whether he asks you on a second date. The masculine doing energy tries to control the uncontrollable, leading to anxiety and exhaustion. The feminine being energy focuses on mastering the self, leading to a state of inner peace and magnetic calm. A man experiences this calm as incredibly attractive. He SPs most of his life in the world of doing, competing, solving, striving. When he is with a woman who is comfortable in her being, he feels a sense of relief. He doesn't have to perform for her or compete with her. He can simply be himself. This is because your energy invites him to drop his own mask. Your willingness to be vulnerable and present gives him permission to do the same. This is the essence of creating a deep, emotional connection. It's not about what you talk about. It's about the emotional space you create between you. Are you creating a space of analysis and evaluation, or are you creating a space of acceptance and presence? When he feels that you are not trying to change him, fix him, or manage him, he feels seen. And for a man, feeling truly seen and accepted by a woman is one of the most powerful and fascinating experiences he can have. But this idea of being and receiving can bring up a powerful fear, a question that echoes in the minds of many women. If I let go, if I stop managing things, won't I just be seen as passive or worse, needy? There is a deep-seated fear that if you reveal your softer, more receptive side, you will be judged. You worry that your emotional depth will be labeled as drama, or that your desire for connection will be seen as a sign of weakness. Why is this fear so common? Because many of us have been taught, either directly or indirectly, to be ashamed of these very qualities. Think back. Were you ever told you were too sensitive as a child? Were you ever made to feel that your emotions were an inconvenience to others? This is where we must look at the parts of yourself you have learned to hide. From a psychological perspective, everyone has a shadow self. This isn't something dark or evil. It's simply the collection of all the traits and feelings that we were taught were unacceptable. For many women who have excelled in the modern world, the shadow often contains qualities associated with the traditional feminine: vulnerability, emotional expression, and the need for support. You learned that to be successful, to be respected, and to avoid being hurt, you had to be strong, logical, and independent. So you pushed your vulnerability and your emotional needs into the shadow, hoping they would disappear. But they don't disappear. These suppressed parts of you are still there, and they hold an immense amount of energy. This hidden energy doesn't just go away. It finds other ways to express itself. It might manifest as a subtle, simmering resentment when you feel you're doing everything in a relationship. It might emerge as a sudden bout of anxiety when you don't receive a text back quickly enough. It might even show up as people-pleasing, where you constantly adapt yourself to what you think he wants because the thought of expressing your own authentic desires feels too risky. You fear he will reject the real you because, on some level, you have already rejected that part of yourself first. A man might not consciously understand this dynamic, but he will feel the effects of it. He will sense an incongruence between the capable, confident woman you present and the anxious, unexpressed needs that lie beneath the surface. This creates confusion, not fascination. He may feel like he is walking on eggshells, unsure of what might trigger an emotional reaction. He can't connect deeply with you because he senses that you are not fully connected with yourself. He is being presented with a carefully curated version of you, not the whole person. And true, lasting fascination can only happen with someone who is whole. The path to unlocking your most magnetic feminine energy, therefore, is not about learning a new set of behaviors to please a man. It is an inside job. It is the courageous work of turning toward the parts of yourself you have disowned. It is about giving your own vulnerability a voice. It means accepting that it is okay to have needs, to feel deeply, and to desire support. When you stop judging these parts of yourself, you stop fearing that a man will judge them too. Your emotional world is no longer a source of shame, but a source of richness, depth, and vitality. A woman who is at peace with her own full spectrum of being, her strength and her softness, her independence and her desire for connection, radiates an authenticity that is profoundly captivating. She isn't performing strength. She embodies a quiet confidence that comes from no longer being at war with herself. This journey inward, this process of accepting your hidden self, naturally changes how you interact with the world, and especially with men. Let's explore what this looks like in practice, particularly in communication. So often, when you are operating primarily from your masculine problem-solving energy, your communication is geared toward achieving an outcome. You might express a need, but it often comes out disguised as a criticism or a demand. For example, if you feel disconnected from a man, the doing mind immediately tries to fix the problem. You might say, "You never plan any dates for us anymore." Or, "Why haven't you called me today?" Do you see the structure of these statements? They are accusations that put him on the defensive. They are an attempt to control his behavior to get the result you want, which is connection. Now consider how a woman who is comfortable in her feminine energy communicates that same need. She is not focused on fixing his behavior. She is focused on expressing her own inner experience. Instead of an accusation, she offers a window into her feelings. She might say, "I've been feeling a little distant from you lately and I miss you." Or, "I was thinking about you today and it made me smile." Notice the profound difference. The first approach creates a battle, the second creates an invitation. One is an attempt to manage him, while the other is a vulnerable sharing of your truth. There is no demand, no criticism, and no aga to control the outcome. You are simply expressing how you feel. This kind of communication is incredibly fascinating to a man who is secure in his masculinity. Why? Because it trusts him to be a man. When you state a problem, "You never plan dates," you are implicitly saying, "You are failing, and here is how you must fix it." This challenges his competence and can trigger feelings of inadequacy or defiance. But when you share a feeling, "I miss you," you are not giving him a problem to solve. You are giving him an opportunity to step up and lead. You are creating a space for him to use his masculine energy to provide, to protect, and to cherish. He hears your feeling, and his natural impulse is to think, "How can I make her feel close to me again? I'll plan something special." He is inspired to act not out of obligation or to stop a complaint, but out of a genuine desire to bring you happiness. This requires immense trust on your part. It is the trust that you can reveal your inner world without needing to control his reaction. It is the belief that simply being your authentic self is enough. You are no longer performing for love or connection. You are allowing it to flow toward you. This is the heart of receptivity. Being receptive doesn't mean being a doormat. It means you are open to receiving, but you are not desperately grasping. You communicate your feelings and desires from a place of wholeness, not from a place of lack. You are not saying, "You need to fix this hole inside of me." You are saying, "This is who I am and what I feel. I am sharing this with you." This kind of self-possessed vulnerability is the opposite of neediness. Neediness is the energy of, "I need you to make me feel okay." Feminine radiance is the energy of, "I am already okay, and I am choosing to share my beautiful, emotional world with you." This shift from demanding to inviting is one of the most powerful transformations you can make in unlocking an energy that men find utterly captivating. As you become more comfortable expressing your feelings and needs from this authentic, non-demanding place, you will start to notice another significant shift. This shift has to do with your relationship to boundaries. Often, when operating from a place of fear or a need to control, boundaries are established as rigid walls built out of resentment and frustration. They are reactions to having your limits crossed repeatedly. You might finally explode, saying, "That's it, I'm not putting up with this anymore." This type of boundary, born from a place of being overwhelmed, feels harsh and defensive. It creates conflict and distance because it is a reaction, not a conscious choice. It comes from a place of feeling like a victim of someone else's behavior. In contrast, a boundary that comes from a place of feminine wholeness feels entirely different. It is not a wall built to keep someone out. It is a clear line that defines where you and another person begins. It is communicated not with anger, but with a quiet, unwavering self-respect. This boundary isn't a reaction to a man's behavior. It is a pre-existing condition of being in a relationship with you. It is a reflection of your own standards and your deep understanding of what you need to feel safe and cherished. You are no longer waiting for him to guess your limits or hoping he won't cross them. You are clear about them from a place of calm self-awareness. For example, imagine a man consistently cancels plans at the last minute. The reactive, masculine shield approach might be to it silently several times, building up resentment, and then finally sing an angry text detailing all his faults. The outcome is a fight, and the underlying dynamic doesn't change. Now, consider the approach from embodied feminine energy. After the first or second time it happens, you would communicate your boundary calmly and clearly. You might say, "I understand that things come up, but I feel disappointed when our plans change at the last minute. It's important for me to feel that my time is respected. Moving forward, I can't make myself available for plans that aren't firm." Do you feel the power in that statement? There is no accusation. There is no drama. You are not trying to change him or punish him. You are simply stating your reality and what works for you. You are giving him a choice. He can either respect your boundary and to have access to you, or he can his behavior and you will naturally create distance. The choice is his. This is profoundly attractive to a man of integrity. He doesn't feel controlled, he feels informed. He is being given a clear roadmap to successfully love and respect you. A man who is genuinely interested and emotionally mature will see this as a sign of high value and self-respect, which will only increase his fascination. He will recognize that you are a woman who knows her own worth and will be inspired to rise to the occasion. This kind of boundary setting is a deep act of self-love. It sends a powerful message to your own unconscious mind that you are worthy of respect and consideration. You are teaching yourself as much as you are teaching him how you deserve to be treated. This inner alignment creates a serene confidence that radiates outward. You are no longer anxious about whether he will cross a line, because you trust yourself to handle it with grace if he does. This frees up an enormous amount of mental and emotional energy that was previously spent on worrying, analyzing his behavior, and feeling resentful. That liberated energy is what fuels your radiance, your playfulness, and your presence, the very qualities that create that magnetic pull. A woman who respects herself doesn't need to demand respect from others. She naturally commands it through her being. This profound self-respect and the ability to set calm boundaries lead to one of the most essential aspects of magnetic feminine energy, the art of creating emotional space. In our hyper-connected world, there's a constant pressure to be available, to respond instantly, and to close any perceived distance in a relationship as quickly as possible. When you feel a flicker of anxiety or insecurity, what is your first impulse? It's often to reach out, to text, to call, to seek reassurance. You are trying to do something to fix the uncomfortable feeling. You want to manage the connection, to pull him closer, to ensure everything is okay. This impulse, while completely understandable, is the antithesis of creating the space necessary for attraction and desire to grow. Think of a fire. To burn brightly, it needs oxygen. If you smother it, it goes out. In a romantic dynamic, desire is the fire and emotional space is the oxygen. When you are constantly closing the gap, managing the communication, and seeking reassurance, you are inadvertently smothering the flames. A man's masculine energy is naturally geared toward pursuit, toward moving toward a goal. If you are always moving toward him, you take away his opportunity to pursue you. He cannot long for you if you are always there. He cannot miss you if you never give him the chance. This is not about playing games or manipulating his feelings. It's a fundamental psychological principle of polarity. Attraction thrives in the space between two people. Embodying your feminine energy means becoming comfortable with that space. It means when he pulls away slightly, which is a natural rhythm for masculine energy as it moves between connection and solitude, you don't panic. You don't immediately try to fix it. Instead, you trust the process. You lean back. You turn your focus away from him and back onto your own life. You fill your own cup. You connect with fries, engage in your hobbies, pursue your passions. Your life is not a waiting room for his attention. Your happiness is not dependent on his last text message. You have a rich, full inner and outer world that is entirely your own. This is what truly fascinates a man. He sees a woman who is not orbiting around him, but who is the sun of her own solar system. Your energy is not needy or grasping. It is radiant and self-contained. When you give him this space, you are also giving him an incredible gift, the gift of your trust. You are non-verbally communicating that you trust him to come back. You trust his feelings for you. And most importantly, you trust that you will be fine whether he does or not. This level of security is rare and incredibly compelling. He doesn't feel the pressure of being the sole source of your happiness, which is a burden that can make any man want to run. Instead, he feels a pull to earn a place in your already wonderful life. When you master the art of leaning back, you allow him to step into his masculine role of leading and initiating. He will be the one to bridge the distance. He will be the one to reach out, to plan the next date, to move the relationship forward. And when he does, it will be because he genuinely wants to, not because you pressured him into it. This creates a dynamic where he feels powerful and successful in his pursuit of you, and you feel cherished and desired. You are free to receive his attention and affection rather than constantly working to secure it. This peaceful, trusting surrender to the natural ebb and flow of connection is the hallmark of a woman who is truly at home in her feminine essence. This ability to lean back and trust the dynamic is rooted in a deeper psychological shift, moving your sense of validation from the outside to the inside. For many of us, our self-worth is unconsciously tied to external factors, particularly the attention and approval of a romantic partner. If he is attentive, you feel good about yourself. If he is distant, you start to question your own value. You might ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Am I not pretty enough? Not interesting enough? Your emotional state becomes a roller coaster, rising and falling based on his actions. This is a state of profound disempowerment, and it is exhausting. Unlocking your feminine energy to fascinate a man is paradoxically not about him at all. It is about reaching a place where you are the ultimate source of your own validation. This is not arrogance or narcissism. It is a quiet, unshakable knowing that your worth is inherent and unconditional. It does not increase when a man desires you, and it does not decrease when he doesn't. This inner state is what allows you to be truly free in your interactions. You are no longer auditioning for the role of his girlfriend. You are simply being yourself and allowing him to see if he is a match for you. The entire dynamic flips. You are no longer seeking his approval. You are determining if he meets your standards. How do you cultivate this inner validation? It begins by consciously redirecting your focus. When you feel that familiar pang of anxiety because he hasn't texted, instead of reaching for your phone, you turn inward. You acknowledge the feeling without judgment. You might say to yourself, I am feeling insecure right now, and that's okay. Then, instead of looking to him to soothe that feeling, you learn to soothe it yourself. You do something that makes you feel good and connected to your own essence. Maybe it's putting on music and dancing, maybe it's going for a walk, maybe it's working on a creative project. You are actively training your brain that you are the source of your own emotional well-being. A man feels this shift on a deep, intuitive level. He senses that you are not with him out of a need to feel complete, but out of a genuine choice. You don't need him, but you desire him. This distinction is critical. Neediness repels masculine energy because it feels like a void that must be filled. Desire, on the other hand, is a powerful, attractive force. It comes from a place of fullness. It says, my life is already wonderful, and I would love for you to be a part of it. A man is not afraid of a woman's desire, he is drawn to it. What he fears is the weight of her neediness, the unspoken responsibility for her happiness. When you are your own source of validation, you bring a sense of playfulness and lightheartedness to the relationship. Small things no longer have the power to destabilize you. An unanswered text or a changed plan is not a referendum on your worth, it's just a circumstance. You can remain in your calm, receptive state because your core is secure. This makes you incredibly resilient and emotionally stable, which are deeply attractive qualities. He feels he can be himself around you, flaws and all, without the fear that a small misstep will shatter your peace. He can relax in your presence knowing that you are not looking to him to build you up, but are inviting him to share in the joy of the life you have already built for yourself. This self-sourcing confidence is the ultimate expression of feminine energy, creating an aura of magnetic self-possession that is impossible to ignore and deeply fascinating to a man. As you cultivate this inner landscape of self-validation and emotional resilience, you begin to access one of the most mysterious and captivating qualities of feminine energy, your intuition. In a world that prizes logic, data, and linear thinking, all hallmarks of the masculine mind, intuition is often dismissed as fanciful or unreliable. But from a psychological standpoint, intuition is a powerful form of intelligence. It is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. It's that gut feeling, that quiet inner knowing that guides you. You have likely experienced it many times, perhaps as a sudden sense that you should or shouldn't do something, or an instant impression of a person's character that later proves to be true. For many women, this intuitive muscle has atrophied. You have been taught to silence it in favor of logic. You overthink decisions, create pro and con lists for your feelings, and seek external opinions to validate what you already know deep down. When it comes to relationships, you might analyze a man's every word and action, trying to logically deduce his intentions, instead of simply attuning to the feeling he gives you. Does his presence make you feel expansive and at ease, or does it make you feel constricted and anxious? That feeling is data. It is your intuition speaking to you. Trusting your intuition is an act of asserting control. The analytical mind wants certainty. It wants to map everything out and predict the future. Intuition operates in the present moment. It doesn't offer a 5-year plan, it offers guidance on the very next step. To trust it means you have to be willing to not know, to sit with uncertainty, and to let your inner compass guide you rather than a pre-drawn map. When you are on a date, for instance, instead of being in your head analyzing the conversation, you can drop into your body and simply feel. How does your body respond when he speaks? Is there a sense of openness or subtle tension? This is not about looking for red flags in a hyper-vigilant way. It is about gently listening to the wisdom of your own nervous system. A man finds a woman who trusts her intuition deeply intriguing because she seems to operate on a different frequency. She is not easily swayed by superficial charm or empty words because she is sensing the energy behind them. She has a kind of internal truth detector that allows her to see beyond the surface. This means he can't simply win her over with a good line or a calculated gesture. He has to be authentic because she will feel the difference. This challenges him in the best possible way. He has to show up as his true self because he senses that no lesser version will do. Furthermore, a woman who is connected to her intuition possesses a natural wisdom. She doesn't offer unsolicited advice or try to solve his problems for him. Instead, her presence itself can be a source of clarity. By simply listening and being attuned to the emotional undercurrents, she can often reflect his own truth back to him in a way he hadn't seen before. He might be talking about a problem at work, and instead of offering a 10-step solution, she might simply say, "It sounds like you feel really unappreciated." That simple, intuitive reflection can be more valuable than any amount of practical advice because it speaks to the core feeling, not just the surface problem. It makes him feel deeply seen and understood. This ability to connect on an intuitive, emotional level, beyond the realm of logic and problem solving, is a uniquely feminine gift. It creates a bond that feels almost magical, a deep and resonant connection that logic alone can never build. And that is what makes a man feel not just attracted, but truly fascinated. This entire journey, from letting go of control to embracing your shadow, from setting boundaries with grace to trusting your intuition, is not about becoming a perfect, idealized version of a feminine woman. It is about becoming more fully and unapologetically yourself. This leads to the ultimate expression of this energy, which is a state of being that can be described as radiant. Radiance is not something you do. It is the natural byproduct of your inner state. It is the glow of a woman who is at peace with herself, who enjoys her own life, and who is open to the world around her. Have you ever been around someone who just seems to exude joy? Their laughter is genuine, their eyes sparkle, and they seem to find delight in the small things. That is radiance. This quality is profoundly magnetic because it is a signal of life force. It tells the world, and any man who encounters it, that you are a person who is deeply engaged with life itself. Your happiness is not a project to be completed or a destination to be reached once you find the right partner. It is your natural state of being. This doesn't mean you are happy all the time. You still feel sadness, anger, and fear. But your fundamental orientation to life is one of openness and appreciation. You find pleasure in your senses, the taste of good food, the beauty of a sunset, the feeling of a warm breeze. You are present in your own life, and that presence is contagious. A man is drawn to a radiant woman not just because she is pleasant to be around, but because she offers him an escape from the heaviness and cynicism that can so often pervade modern life. She reminds him of the possibility of joy. In her presence, the world seems more colorful, more alive. He feels more optimistic, more energized. This is not because she is entertaining him or performing for him. It is because her own authentic enjoyment of life gives him permission to access his own. He can let go of the pressure to be serious and responsible for a little while and simply be in the moment with her. Cultivating this radiance is about a conscious choice to focus on what feels good, what brings you joy, and what makes you feel alive. It's about prioritizing your own pleasure, not in a selfish way, but as a necessary form of self-care. What makes you lose track of time? What makes you laugh from your belly? Who are the people who make you feel seen and celebrated? You actively choose to fill your life with more of that. You stop tolerating relationships, jobs, and situations that drain your energy and dim your light. You become a fierce protector of your own joy. This is the ultimate state of fascination. A man may be initially attracted to your appearance, your intelligence, or your success, but he will be fascinated in a deep and lasting way by your spirit. He will be captivated by the way you live, by the light you emanate. He will want to be near that light, to understand it, and to be a part of the world you have created. When a woman reaches this state, the question of how to attract a man becomes irrelevant. She is no longer trying to attract anyone. She is simply living her life in the most authentic and joyful way she can. And in doing so, she becomes a magnet for all good things, including the love and admiration of a man who is ready and able to appreciate the extraordinary woman she has become. This isn't a strategy, it's the beautiful, inevitable outcome of a deep inner transformation. It is a process of unlearning the need to strive and prove, and instead, learning to simply be. It is the courage to be soft in a world that tells you to be hard, to be receptive in a world that rewards aggression, and to trust your inner knowing in a world that demands external proof. The journey to unlock your feminine energy is, in the EIE, the journey back to your most essential self. Your power to fascinate does not lie in a perfectly executed technique, but in the peaceful, self-possessed freedom of being you.